God, I love Monster Hunter. With Wilds on the horizon, I decided to go through the last 3 games that I love playing, and decided to show everyone my 10 favorite monsters in the franchise. Now originally it was going to be 15, but one thing led to another and now it's a 10 segmented list instead of a 15. None of these are in order, but I'm sure you'll be able to see who sits on the trophy shelf. Now let's check our bags, eat some food, and set on the main quest of my 10 favorite Monster Hunter monsters. I'm just gonna get this one out of the way. Y'all a bunch of babies! I will never understand the community's gripe over such a great fight with this black dragon. This beast is truly a test of how well a hunter you are, how well you can adapt to the situation, and how you're able to cooperate with your team. But we can't use our status weapon. Why should we have to use elements? Hot take, but status builds have been made hunts way too easy. Able to constantly stun and status monsters makes me feel so easier than it usually is. Sure, status elements still work. It's clear to see you need to bring your best element weapons to this fight. Capcom tuned every weapon's elemental damage output against this monster, making sure no matter what your weapon was, it will deal elemental damage to this thing. Now, to get off my soapbox and actually talk about why I love this monster. Its design, its peak, its roar, peak. Its unique battle arena? Peak. Eschaton? Fucking Judgment? Pure cinema. I've died so many times to Eschaton, but every time I see it, whether I've hit the damage cap or not, it's just beautiful. I love how this fight feels like a test to see whether all of your hours of hunting monsters has taught you how to fight, which is essentially a god of the elements. But of course, it's not the final test. That will come later. When it comes to Elder Dragons, I've always had a couple questions that constantly plague my mind from time to time. How are they born? Are they born as Elders, or do they start off as normal and evolve over time into Elder Dragons? What's it like becoming an Elder Dragon?
Those questions have actually been answered with the existence of one dragon, Shagaru Magala. This Elder Dragon is really fucking cool, and I can't even stand that. The design, the hunt, the ecology, this thing has it all. It's like one day Capcom said, hey, let's just make one of the coolest fucking monster lines in the game, and then boom, this thing and its precursors were born. Originally starting off as another monster known as Gormagala, these pitch-black scaled beasts spread the Frenzy Virus, a deadly disease that spreads like wildfire that affects humans and monsters alike. Gormagala infects a monster that becomes a frenzy monster, a monster that spreads that and then it dies, becoming Gormagala's next meal. And this continues over and over again, which is why the guild is so keen on killing it as soon as they hear about it. Now Gormagala's life can be broken down to 3 paths while trying to shed its skills. The first path is the best one for the guild. The hunters kill it or capture it, and that stops the frenzy from spreading. The second is that Gore survives this encounter during its molting process, but is too far damaged and is stuck in a constant state of pain due to the interruption of its molting process, becoming a variant known as Chaotic Gormagala, a creature that wants to be put down because of the immense pain, but will still put up a fight before it goes down. But the third path is where it sheds its old skin, becoming Shagaru Magala, an almost angelic, unworldly beast who finally becomes an Elder Dragon. Fun fact, when it comes to Gormagala, if you break parts and look at its body before the hunt ends, you can see the gold underneath. Shagaru takes what makes Gormagala deadly and cranks it up to 11, while also displaying an unworldly glow from its body like a god. The display of power is so cool to see during hunts that sometimes I can't help but stand and look, sometimes to my own detriment. I almost forgot to mention this, but Sunbright gave us Risen Shagaru Magala, and god, he hurt so much more while looking majestic.
Oh my god, he's so goddamn cool!
I'm just gonna say it, Chameleos is my Dodogama.
Blasphemer!
He's such a derpy boy, and not a thought behind those eyes. Being introduced in the second generation of the series, Chameleos is always the oddball looking of the Elder Dragon trio that always appears in every game. When putting in comparison to the other two, we have an Elder Dragon who's essentially a Manticore and a steel armored Elder Dragon, and then there's just this giant poison spewing chameleon. But for some reason, it's this item-stating Elder that I prefer over the other two. Maybe it's the gimmick of turning invisible to keep your eyes and ears open, only weakening it by breaking the horn. Maybe it's the ability to steal items from your pouch with its tongue, something that changed in Rise, only stealing spirit birds instead, which still keeps up with its stealing resource gimmick.
I'm gonna steal all your stuff.
Instead of fighting the base version, I usually find myself fighting its risen form, which is just an Elder Dragon who survived being attacked by the Kyrios. A lot more health, much deadlier poison, and a powered up state that turns everything up to 11. I also like a lot of nice touches to its design, adding scars from the Kyrios involvement that light up when it goes into its risen state. All this and more is wrapped up in a silly little chameleon, and I just love him.
Motherfucking zombie dragon. Valhazak and Black Veil Valhazak were a cool substitution for Chameleos among the main 3 Elder Dragons in the game, but what he's given him a lot of character. You see this lumbering beast covered in flesh of dead monsters, similar to Ursula, giving it this ominous feeling that this thing constantly wears the flesh, like a trophy, hiding its lanky body underneath. His ecology is also very fascinating, due to his own presence in the Rotten Veil is what causes the deadly miasma to exist, using it to siphon life from those afflicted by it, which is also something he uses during hunts against him. Black Veil is very similar to the original with a few minor changes, such as zombie moss that covers his eyes to prevent flash pods from working, and spores that open up on his body when you hit him enough and they afflict you with miasma. Even with all of that and then some, it still keeps what I love about the original Zombie King. My only hope is that this Elder Dragon shows up again soon so I can fight this King of the Dead once more and reclaim its lich aesthetic armor set and weapons. Especially the hammer, which, I gotta ask Capcom, it's an axe, why does it not cut things?
I love gold!
The Golden Mother of Monsters debuts as world's first raid monster while waltzing through the caverns of El Dorado, showing off her royal golden crusted attire. Golv is a monster that I enjoy fighting in and out of the raid. I'm aware of that some hunters don't really like this raid, because how slow it is and how long it takes to build up the meter, but the feeling of watching this majestic beast stroll through her home is honestly worth it. That and fighting the burrito snake. Hello! But the real meat of the fight is when you and Cool stare each other down while giving it your all to break her golden-coated horns. She may appear long and slow during the battle. She hides her true power when she takes off her golden dress.
God, that sounds wrong.
A weird way to put it is she took off the access way and now moves faster and hits harder. Kind of like Rock Lee in a weird way. My favorite part of this hunt is the final room where she brings out the heat and lights up the room. Lava falling from the ceiling as you and Kuv clash before finally breaking her horns, causing her to flee, or slaying her in the Master Rank quest. I truly do love this monster, and I hope she returns outside of the Monster Hunter story games.
Do you remember when I said that Elytron was the test of how much of a hunter you've become? Well, here's the final exam. God, what can I say about this god of monster that a lot of hunters haven't already said? This thing is a legend, and it makes you feel why the term Black Dragon brought fear into the guild and its hunters. Vitalis, or as the community calls him, Fatty, puts everything you've learned to the table and cranks it up to 100. Attacks that hit hard and can even one-tap if you're not prepared. Fire that can melt metal while burning away health faster than you can even react. And power that feels unstoppable to defeat. It's a fight that feels like the end, be it the theme or how cinematic the fight becomes as it continues from start to finish. All I can say is that it sounded like this is the best fight in the game. No, it's the hardest in the game, and it makes you work for it. Does it get frustrating constantly losing to this thing? Yes. But it's worth once you beat the beast, and the dopamine rush that feels amazing, especially being able to craft the strongest set weapons in the game. I'm so glad they added this fight at the end of the game, and as a final hunt to Iceborne before going into Rise. As rough as it was, I hope to fight this beast in the future in another expansion.
Gaze up at the sky in fear. The Crimson Comet draws near. The light of the stars burns the earth to ash. Rends heaven in twain with a final flash.
Oh god, he's so goddamn cool!
I know this is going to be a short-ass segment, but I don't know what else to say other than that he just looks so fucking cool. His design, what he can do, his Power Rangers / Super Sentai looking armor, everything just screams 90s level of cool. Like, I can go on and on about his ecology and everything, but no, he's just straight up 90s cool. Sharp edges, awesome looking flames, the fact that his theme is just amazing. Like, yeah, I can go into detail about how his attack from the sky, his bombardment, it just looks so fun to watch, even in his risen form. And most of the time right now, I'm just talking about Crimson Glow, not the base version, but still, it's just so cool. Just an Elder Dragon with foldable wings that can do whatever he wants, spin around, attack you. Ew, it's just so...
Oh my god, he's so goddamn cool!
Mizalei Maribela Zorakumi Mie Patabota Mirezeiga Luhora Ide Haruku Rakumo Daremo Ryushita Surai Garumo Rubu Raomo Meru Tukuiza Rado Eme Mize Ettara Rodo Moira
Turn up that Castlevania music because the Dracula of Elder Dragons has arrived, and he's thirsty. Rise left me wanting more with its Elder Dragons, with the exception of one of them, but Rise delivered with its mascot, a vampire Elder Dragon that siphons the energy of its enemies via a symbiotic relationship with the curios on its chest. Similar to how other members of the three lords of the kingdom are being based off classic movie monsters and their myths, Malzeno is based off the vampire with its elegant design, giving off the nobility and grandiose, something that also shows in its knightly armor and weapons. But his looks aren't just for show. He's as fierce as he is handsome.
God, that also sounded wrong.
With a fierce attacking pattern of wing swipes, tail impaling, even draining your own health while inflicting you with its own blight, aka Blood Blight. This fallen knight of the kingdom will give you no quarter. Originally seen as the main threat of the kingdom before the game pulls a 180 and reveals that the Elder Dragon was its protector before falling into the control of the Curios. Now serving as the real threat of the kingdom as a way to bring its food, Malzeno serves its master with no questions and tears through all opposition. Now that with everything I've said, you'd think this would make him one of my favorites. While yes, that does hit a lot of marks for me, it's his primordial variant that does it for me. We get to take on a pre-corrupted Malzeno who is essentially a noble knight protecting his kingdom. But when the fight starts, we soon realize that the Curio didn't make him stronger, they held him back. Now at full power, Primordial Malzeno hits us with all the stops while also fighting back the corruption that's trying to take hold of him again, and it's unforgiving. Long attack strings, big damage, and was essentially a risen state turned to 11. This fight tests your patience for an opening and to get what you got when you get it. After an intense fight that ends Kyrios trying to take over the Noble Knight, we realize that we are not enemies of the Count and help fight off these little suckers till the sun sets. With a teary-eyed understanding between us and the beast itself, as it takes flight, Malzeno soared into not just the sunset, but into one of my favorites. The elegant dancer of the Fated Four has gotten a new dress and some new bubbles, and she's ready to show you how she blows them.
Why did I write this?
Originally, when I was going to come back in 2023, I was wanting to make a video essay on this beautiful beast, but work got in the way and was shelved permanently. But with doing this favorites list, I might as well use what was in that and summarize my thoughts. Kakar really said, let's take Mitsutsume, and instead of water bubbles, let's make it a fire variant and have it spew white hot phosphorus. That is such a fun and interesting way to make a variant to an already existing and beautiful monster. I love it. The way this fight progresses, the music from the music of the arena that is barely utilized, to Mitsu's battle theme as it engages in an elegant yet dangerous dance of fire and explosions. Watching this beautiful kimono-clad monster dance around the arena makes you feel like you're watching a dangerous play happen right before your eyes, while you're also participating in it, making it so much fun to experience. My buddy Oscar made me realize that this form has some DBZ references like Hellzone Grenade and even the Spirit Bomb, which can be used against her if you do enough damage to her. I do hope she comes back in the future because, God, she's so much fun to fight and even more fun to watch.
You're dead and buried, darling.
And bricked. Hello!
I really just edited that. Am I a monster fuck?
Now you'd think that with all the elders on this favorites list of mine that one of them would be one that pumps me up every time I see it. Nope! That's my boy! That's my son! Ever since this explosive beast made its debut, it has become an instant favorite of mine. I love seeing it constantly pop up in hunts and future games. Oh, but Z, it gets annoying when it interrupts your hunts. Hey man, he's just trying to help, and he's doing his best, okay? He's a good boy. But I ask you, what's better than one Basil? A brand new one in the same game and an expansion! Seething Basil Geese brings everything I love about Basil Geese and just makes it more explosive.
Explosions!
It has its own cinematic dive bomb attack too, and a victorious roar. God, it's so cool to watch and feel. And on top of all of it, his theme plays and it instantly tells you all you need to know about him. He's here and he wants you to know it. He is such a good monster and I love him to death.
I've only had Arlo for a day and a half, but if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself.